Second battle on the Marne. With Germany able to build up its strength on the Western Front after the armistice with Russia, Allied troops struggled to hold off another German offensive until promised reinforcements from the United States were able to arrive. On July 15, 1918, German troops launched what would become the last German offensive of the war, attacking French forces joined by 85,000 American troops as well as some of the British expeditionary forces. In the Second Battle of the Marne, the Allies successfully pushed back the German offensive and launched their own counteroffensive. Just 3 days later, after suffering massive casualties, Germany was forced to call off a planned offensive further north in the Flanders region stretching between France and Belgium, which was envisioned as Germany's best hope of victory. The Second Battle of the Marne turned the tide of war decisively toward the Allies, who were able to regain much of France and Belgium in the month that followed. The Haarlem Hellfighter and other all-black regiments. By the time World War I began, there were 4 all-black regiments in the U.S. military: the 24th and 25th Infantry and the 9th and 10th Cavalry. All 4 regiments comprised the celebrated soldiers who fought in the Spanish-American War and American Indian War and served in the American territory, but they were not deployed for overseas combat in World War I. Black serving alongside which soldier on the front line in Europe was inconceivable to the U.S. military. Instead, the first African American troops sent overseas served in segregated labor battalions, restricted to menial roles in the Army and Navy, and shut out of the Marine entirely. Their duty mission included offloading ships, transporting material from train depot, bases and ports, digging trenches, cooking and maintenance, removing barbed wire, and operating equipment, and burying soldiers, facing criticism for the black community and civil rights organizations for the quotas and treatment of African American soldiers and the war effort. The military formed 2 black regiments units in 1917. The 92nd, 93rd, 93rd Division trained separately and inadequately in the United States. The division fared differently in the war. The 92nd faced criticism for their performance in the
Meuse-Argonne.
The Meuse-Argonne campaign in September 1918. The 93rd Division, however, had more success with dwindling armies. France asked American for reinforcement, and General John Pershing, commander of the American Expeditionary Forces, sent regiment in the 93rd Division to over, since France had experienced fighting alongside black soldiers from their Senegalese.
Your face is on the screen.
French Colonel Army, the 93rd Division, 369 Regiment, nicknamed the Haarlem Hellfighter, fought so gallantly with a total of 191 days on the front line longer than any AEF regiment that France awarded and the Croix de Guerre for their heroism. More than 350,000 African American soldiers were served in the World War I in various tactics. You just gotta do the rest.
Just this.
Just this and the next page.
Why don't we just do this so it's not too long? I'll just do this side. Does that sound good?
Yeah, and then.
All right, I'll just do this side. All right. Black combat with dwindling armies, France asked America for reinforcements, and General John Pershing, commander of the American Expeditionary Forces, sent. Oh, did you already read this?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Toward armistice. By the fall of 1918, the Central Powers were unraveling on all fronts. Despite the Turkish victory at Gallipoli, later defeats by invading forces in an Arab revolt that destroyed the Ottoman economy and devastated its land, and the Turks signed a treaty with the Allies in late October 1918.
You might be able to get it done.
Austria-Hungary dissolving from within due to growing nationalist movements among its diverse population, reached an armistice on November 4th, facing dwindling resources on the battlefield, discontent on the home front, and the surrender of its allies. Germany was finally forced to seek an armistice on November 11th, 1918, ending World War I. Treaty of Versailles. At the Paris Peace Conference in 1919, Allied leaders stated their desire to build a post-war world that would safeguard itself against future conflicts of such devastating scale. Some hopeful participants had even begun calling World War I the war to end all wars. But the Treaty of Versailles, signed on June 28, 1919, would not achieve that lofty goal. Saddled with war guilt, heavy reparations, and denied entrance into the League of Nations, Germany felt tricked into signing the treaty, having believed any peace would be peace without victory, as put forward by President Wilson in his famous 14-point speech in January 1918. As the years passed, hatred of the Versailles Treaty and its authors settled into a smoldering resentment in Germany that would two decades later be counted among the causes of World War II. Is this the rest of it?
Yeah.
Will we be done with this? All right,
yeah.
I'll just finish then. All right. World War I casualties. World War I took the lives of more than 9 million soldiers. 21 million more were wounded. Civilian casualties numbered close to 10 million. The two nations most affected were Germany and France, each of which sent some 80% of their male populations between the ages of 15 and 49 into battle. The political disruption surrounding World War I also contributed to the fall of four venerable imperial dynasties: Germany, Austria-Hungary, Russia, and Turkey. The legacy of World War I. World War I brought about a massive social upheaval as millions of women entered the workforce to replace men who went to war and those who never came back. The first global war also helped to spread one of the world. It's debatable whether it's the first one, but anyways, also helped to spread one of the world's deadliest global pandemics, the Spanish flu epidemic of 1918, which killed an estimated 20 to 50 million people. World War I has also been referred to as the first modern war. Many of the technologies now associated with military conflicts, such as machine guns, tanks, and aerial combat and radio communications, were introduced on a massive scale during World War I. The severe effects that chemical weapons such as mustard gas and phosgene had on soldiers and civilians during World War I galvanized public and military attitudes against their continued use. The Geneva Convention agreements, signed in 1925, restricted the use of chemical and biological agents in warfare and remains in effect today.
Okay.
And that concludes facts about World War I.
There we go.